Hey guys, it's Hannah aka Hellbunny123 and welcome to my channel. If you're new, then please go ahead and click that subscribe button because it means a lot. And if you're a returning viewer, then thank you so much. Thank you for your comments, your thumbs up, and just everything you do. You rock. Thank you. So in today's video, it's actually a really fun thing that I'm trying to build and a bit of a challenging one as well. I got tagged in the Glass House Challenge by Nicole Sims Social. If you don't know who she is, then check out her channel. I will link it below. And basically it was to build a glass house, so with like windows all around and even on internal walls. I love glass houses and I have built a few. If you follow me in the gallery, you might have seen some. So because the glass windows I use for glass houses are generally from base game, I decided that I would make this challenge a little bit harder and make it a base game challenge as well. So it's a base game glass build. And I almost do the solid color challenge because most of the things I use are white, but I do use a little bit of color. So it's kind of 3 challenges in one, but maybe 2.5. We'll go 2.5 challenges in one. Anyway, so at the minute I'm just looking at the railings for the upstairs patio, and I was trying to do half walls because actually the tall half wall you can put a window in, but I couldn't get it looking quite right, like the windows was a little bit high for it, so I decided to just go for base game railings around the patio in the end. I put in some stairs. Now there are 2 lots of modern stairs which I like that are in the base game. There's this one and then there's another one which is sort of just like a lot less going on with them. I don't know what they're called exactly, but they are in there. And I went for this one in the end and I placed them near the wall, and to place them near the wall without getting rid of the windows you just need to have the move objects on cheat on, and then you can pretty much do anything. So I use that in this build a lot, and if you download this house then please put the cheat in first just to make sure everything sets in nicely. So with the kitchen, I went for the modern counters, which again, just like really simple, plain white. They do look modern. I think they look a little bit dated in some things. Like I think I used them in my dated laundrette room, but they work in modern builds, I think. And again, they're base game, so it was like a win-win. I used them round. I wanted to add a little bit of privacy to the bathroom because Nicole said to try and have privacy but without like too much going on. So, or at least I think she said that. So I added the fridge just like in front of the bath to add a little bit more privacy. I know it's not ideal to be making food and someone sat on the toilet, but I was just like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna do this build. I just want to get it done and try and achieve this because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. And although it's a box build and like kept quite simple, it was still hard. Like when you've got windows everywhere, you can't really do a lot with the walls. So there's no paintings in this build at all. It's just windows, and there's not even any curtains. Like I didn't add curtains, so they literally have no privacy. But I figured that this house would be one that you'd find like on top of a mountain or overlooking like a pool, or what it is, hasn't got a pool there, but like, you know, just on its own, quite exclusive but really nice. Sorry, my Fitbit went off to tell me I've done my steps for the day. That's good. So I also really like when you have like a room and then you take off the floor next to it. So if it's on like a second level, you'll get like an overlooking bit. I think that looks so cool. And so I do that a lot in my builds when I can. I did it in this one as well. And then I'm adding the roofs, or the roof rather, and if you follow me on social or if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I struggle with roofs and landscaping. They're like my 2 biggest weaknesses. So in this one I wanted to use a simple modern slanted roof, and I played around with it by using the, I think it's the Shift and C key, and that basically just gives you a little bit more control and you can manipulate the roof a little bit more. So I gave it a wave effect. If I wasn't doing base game and if I was using my other packs, then I would have put the glass dance floor on top of there. And if you saw on my Twitter the other day, I shared a mirror house build, which was a lot of fun. Then you will see that on the roof of that I do use the glass dance floor as like a skylight because it does double up as a skylight and it's pretty cool. With the beds in The Sims 4, whether it's base game or not, I find them limited. Like I find the colours and the variety limited. I think there's only a couple of modern looking beds, and even those, they kind of get ruined by some of the patterns they put on them. Like they look a little bit naff, a little bit tacky, or you know. So I went for this simple blue bed. I actually changed it to pink because I found some pink decor that I wanted to add in, like a pink flower and the pink towels, but I go on to that shortly. Also, the lighting in base game is so limited, like so limited, and it's so poor. So I really went OTT on these floor lights. As you can see, I'm putting loads of lights in that pool because I want it to be illuminated. A little tip for you is to change the height of your pool, and that'll make it deeper or shallower. Like if you build a pool naturally, it'll be on the shortest height, but if you change it to medium or tall height, then you'll get a really nice deep pool. So I think that looks cool, especially for modern builds, but it did come to bite me in the back shortly, and you will see why having a tall pool wasn't the best idea, but it's okay. It's okay, the build turned out fine in the end. You'll see why anyway. So yeah, back to the lighting. It's super limited. So I added in loads of lights. Well, not too many, but like more than I probably would have. I like to add in a lot of side lights, and the lights I would have gone for are like those panel strips. So I think they're in Spa Day, and they're just like panel strips, but they're really nice, really modern. They add a nice glow, and they look cool, but I couldn't add them because they weren't base game. So I struggled with the lighting to get something modern looking and that provided a lot of lights. Again, like I also struggled with the clutter, but a little tip for you is to, if you've got move objects on, is to put an item on top of a counter or dresser or wherever you want it to be on. Move the counter out the way and then move the object to where you want it to be, like where the counter would be. You'll see me doing that with the dresser and with the soap in the kitchen in this build. Also, I did realise that there's two shelves there which I completely didn't decorate at all whatsoever. So there's just one with some plants on, and then the other two are like nothing's on them. So if you download this, feel free to add as much or as little more clutter as you want. It is base game, so hopefully if you've got other packs you can add a bit more clutter, or if you just want to keep it basic, then keep it as it is. When I did put Sims into this house to playtest it, they enjoyed it, they liked the pool. You know, they were having a whale of a time. So it doesn't need too much clutter, it just depends if you want it to look a bit more lived in. And this patio, I struggled with a few things, right? I struggled with the roof. Well, I didn't really struggle with the roof. I nailed that pretty quickly. It's not anything amazing. It's not anything to scream home about, but it's a roof. I struggled with the sofas in the lounge and with the sofa on the patio, just with the angles, and like I couldn't get them to look natural. So I just went with it in the end. The patio was maybe like a little bit too big for my liking, but I wanted it all to be in line, and I didn't want to faff around with like mirrors or making things even again, so I kept it as it was. And it is a nice space. If you've got other packs, then it'd be good to add like other things on there, maybe like a dance floor or a bar or like whatever you want. And yeah, just turn it into your own house if you download it. Because this house is available on the gallery, by the way, just in case you didn't realise. I will put a link below. And then in a minute, I get onto the bit which, well, now I'm getting onto it now actually. So I watched Singing Simmer's video the other day, and she did a really cool build with a rock pool. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. It made me want to make one. So I tried my best at making a rock pool, and I really didn't know where to start, but I knew that rocks were base game and I knew a pool was base game. So I was like, well, this is perfect. And also I'm not good at landscaping, so I figured this might be an easier option. Turns out it took me a really long time, and it takes a lot of patience, but actually in the end, like I quite like it. I actually really like it, even if I do say so myself, and I don't like to be saying, oh, this build's amazing, I built it, but like I just think it looks really cool. I'm really proud of it. Like it could be better, but you know, given the fact I've never done one before, I was like, this is awesome. So yeah, it basically just involved me picking a load of rocks and changing the size by pressing the bracket keys, the square bracket keys, and then raising and lowering them to get them inside the pool. I changed the wallpaper to a rock effect as well, just to make it look a little bit more rocky. And I could have spent a lot more time on the rocks and putting more inside the pool, but in the end I was like, this build I've already been doing for an hour. The whole build took me an hour and 40 minutes to do, so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna put this in there and see what it looks like. And you know, it looks okay. Could have more rocks, but it looks okay. I also thought it would probably be really boring for you guys just to watch me like moving rocks up and down, and I was tempted to put lights in there, but because it was base game and there weren't any lights that I was really feeling, I decided not to. It reflects the light nicely though in the morning and the evening, so that looks cool. I also tried putting some plants around it, again sticking to base game plants. I don't know how many times I've said base game in this video, but I feel like saying it again. So I put some base game plants in the rock pool, actually just outside the rock pool. And I'm not the best at landscaping, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know, I never know like where's the limit of what's enough and what's too much or what's not enough and what looks a bit silly. But let me know like advice as well for landscaping, because I do struggle with it. Also, the Terran paint, I think that's how you say it, the Terran paint. That is your best friend if you're building a starter home, because it is free and it will make your outside look really nice, or better than it does just being grass. So I used some Terran paint to give a pathway, and then I added some like dark desert land around the plants just to give it a bit more texture and depth in those areas. So now you can see me adding the plants in. I went for like desert looking plants, I don't know, just whatever I could find that looked like remotely deserty, and went with the rocks. Like, I'm not convinced they work, but I just wanted to leave it in because I always like it when I see plants in other people's builds in the gardens. I think they look awesome, so I wanted to give it a go. I find it hard to judge my own work, you know, because you see it from being absolutely nothing to being complete. It's like, it's hard to know, whereas when you see someone else's build, it's the first time you see it for like fully is when it's done. So immediately you're like, that's amazing, you know, that looks awesome, and you see all the things you love about it and like what you think makes it look so epic. Whereas when you do your build yourself, it's like hard because you just see it constantly. Anyway, that is my base game glasshouse speed build, and I hope you liked it. Please subscribe if you're not already, and if you want to download it, then visit me on the gallery. I'm hellbunny123. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.